Leave her, Johnny, leave her. Oh, leave her. God, not again.
Hey, be a squid and subscribe to my mediocrity.
Alright, what is popping, young bucks? Today, we're doing a filler video because I'm completely out of ideas. More or less, I'm just grinding on BDL. There's not really much to talk about other than just me uploading a video of you of me while grinding and you just watch it. I don't know if you give a shit about that. I mean, I could do that. It's lazy content, but I'm just, I'm out here trying to spit that fire. So today we're talking about 5 things I wish I knew as an intermediate player, which I would say is about maybe where I'm at. Probably I'm a little bit above that because I know what the fuck I'm doing more or less for 90% of the game. There's like 5 things I don't know how to do, which I'm not going to mention those things because they may or may not be noob things, but we're not going to talk about it, okay? But one of the first things that I wish I had known was this Bartolis Log that nobody fucking told me about, and I'm pretty upset about it. Like, listen, all y'all motherfuckers in that comment section, you aren't even in the comment section. You watching the video, you ain't commenting, and it's making me real tight right now, and I'm going to rearrange your butt cheeks, okay? I'm going to need you to just tell me things, okay? Over here making me guessing shit about what the hell you want. I don't appreciate that. More or less, the Bartolis Log is essentially just the dumbest shit on planet Earth, but it gives you a bunch of statistics towards your character, like 4 sheet AP, a bunch of DP, so on, so on. This is super important because if you want to hit 245, this is pretty much your go-to strategic shut up. This is basically the strategy. This is the only and easiest way that you're gonna get to 245 because that 4 sheet AP is basically what's needed to hit 245 with all tri-gold accessories. Now, I'll put a link in the description to Dragon Uzi's guide on the whole Bartolis Log. It was super fucking helpful, and I watched that shit all the way to the very end. It took me roughly around like 2 to 3 weeks to finish it, but that's only because I'm a lazy piece of shit. I don't know what to tell you. You could probably have it done in about a week or so, but there's certain bosses that you have to kill, like Nuver, Kudum, Quint. I don't think you have to do Maraca. I don't remember. Either which way, the link in the description will be there, and you guys can go ahead and check that out. It's very helpful, and I highly recommend you do the Bartolis Log. If you want to get some just basically free AP, I mean, it's not free because you have to sacrifice a shit ton of your time for some of the dumbest shit in the game. Like, I swear to God, some of those logs, you have to legitimately just type numbers in general chat. Like, they were out of ideas. Convince me that they weren't. More or less, it's retarded bullshit, but it's stuff that gives you actual stats, so it's worth doing. So check it out. Another thing I wish I had known whenever I was sort of just leveling here, granted I did re-roll once or twice, so that this kind of fucked me, but I didn't think about it anyway on either of my classes, but the importance of training health, stamina, and strength. Now, the strength part can just kind of be, boop, boop, boop. Fuck that bullshit. I don't really care about all that. I'm a pay-to-win player, so I just buy shit, and I don't care about all that. But if you want some strength, you can do that, I guess, but I don't really care for it. However, health and stamina, super important, varying for classes. Either which way, it's super important for all classes, but some classes definitely benefit from having both of those stats raised immensely. My main 2 classes at the moment are Musa and Ninja, and both, mainly the Musa that I'm playing, but Musa, super stamina heavy. I have to be able to zigzag, zagoon all the way the fuck around people, so my dashes eat my stamina like crazy, so I needed to raise this really fast. For the longest time, and I shit you not, the longest time, I did not eat any food. I kid you not, I was level 56 with level 1 health. That's not a joke. Now my health is sitting around like level 35 to 40 or something like that, but more or less the point I'm trying to convince here, or to tell you, is that this raising your health is super important, especially when you're trying to PvP. This extra statistic will save your life to a certain degree, of course. I don't want to, it's not the be all the end all strategy, but at the end of the day, extra health is extra health. And stamina should just be a given. Each class has certain abilities that drain stamina or that just prevent you from doing certain things without stamina, and the higher you can have the stamina, the better. Every class needs it, and you should be training it. How you train health is you eat food, any food realistically. I do a lot of processing and cooking, so I just eat teff bread, pistachio, whatever, and I'll also eat cron meals when I'm grinding and stuff, so I'm always basically eating food whenever I grind and whenever I'm just processing or whatever. And to raise your stamina, all you gotta do is just run around everywhere. So if you just press LT and X if you're on console, I don't know what the button is on PC because I'm not a pleb, so if you just press LT and X on console, or if you're on PS4, it's like L2 and square. You basically just click on the map, and then you'll just run back and forth in a line, and that's essentially how you train it. You just do that overnight for a couple days, and you'll see a huge improvement in stamina. As for strength, all you gotta do is buy a trade item from one of the trade managers, and then just once again auto path in the safe zone, and bada boopy, you're good to go. The next thing I wish I had known, which is probably gonna make all of y'all motherfuckers be real upset, is church buffs. I'm not kidding. I did not know church buffs existed up until roughly about a month ago. Day one player, by the way. Shit, day one PC player, actually. And I guess I'll also fit into this as well. This kind of ties into the other thing that I was just talking about when it came to food buffs, but also just food buffs, as I just mentioned. Yeah, food buffs, church buffs. Kinda didn't realize the importance of them. Church buffs, I didn't know existed. Food buffs, I didn't know exist. I just never knew how important they were. So we'll start with church buffs. Every city pretty much has a church buff, like some sort of priest, or I don't know, some kind of religious artifact figure, garbage, whatever the fuck. And you talk to them, give them 5 gold bars for attack, defense, and experience, and then you get a little bit of a buff. Is the buff super necessary and needed? No. But the reason I'm telling you the importance of it is that if somebody else has it and you don't, they have an advantage over you, or at least can close the gap between AP levels. Typically when I'm grinding on Arsha, I always run fully buffed with just everything, cron meal, church buffs, the whole 9 yards, just because I never know who's gonna roll up on me, and that's essentially the only way I'm gonna close the gap if it's a big PP motherfucker that just tries to beat the shit out of me. This is basically the only thing I had to learn the hard way, is because I always wondered, like, why is there such a huge difference? Now that I hit like 235 and now I'm on my way to 261, I'm noticing that the AP is becoming less and less necessary, and I just more or less need skill to beat people. In my recent travels and experiences lately, I've just been shitting on a lot of people, both varying from AP levels of garbage and also AP levels of just they're penned out and I've actually beaten them before. And I can 90% of the time say like that's mainly just skill-based stuff, but also I wouldn't be able to do that without some of the buffs that I have, like adding a drought or a food buff or church buffs. Those help immensely. This is mainly PvP oriented towards this kind of subject that we're talking about, but the reality is it's very important. If you're wondering why you have such a distance and gap, if they have food buffs and they're more geared than you, they have a massive, and I mean a massive, just spacing between you and them. But if you have food buffs, you can close the gap a little bit more, and you'll notice your damage being a little bit more effective. Anyway, you get the point. Food buffs, church buffs, these are very important. I highly recommend exquisite cron meal for PvP, simple for PvE, and that's pretty much it. If you don't want to run that, you can do the old food buff rotation, Knight's Ration, Serendia meal, I think Calpheon meal or Medaya, whichever one, I don't remember, but you can look it up either which way, but those are very important. The fourth thing I wish I had known whenever I was an intermediate player, as I still am, is stacking materials and items and just sitting on them till I need money. Once again, this is something I have had to learn the hard way, because whenever I have money in my CM or my storage or on me, I just want to spend it. Especially in recent times where I have a worker empire now and I'm constantly spending money on beer instead of just being a man and cooking that shit, but you get the point. I am always spending money, and sitting on materials and like enhanced items and shit, sitting on those are very important, because you never know when the market is going to fluctuate to a point where it might be beneficial to you. I talked about this in a previous video on how I made 4 billion in a matter of a week, and it was during when the Hashashin popped out and Kudums and Kazarkas skyrocketed in fucking prices, and I made 4 billion just off of sniping shit off the marketplace and enhancing for profit. And the same thing went for Pila Face scrolls as well. Meme frags went up the wazoo and they just skyrocketed in price. I pre-bought scrolls before the Hashashin came out, and I bought them for about 1.1 million, something like that. And then the scrolls skyrocketed all the way to 1.8, and the same thing with the meme frags. They went all the way up, so I ended up running over 1,000 scrolls with a 5-man group over the course of, I think, 3 days, and I turned a $2 to $3 billion fucking silver profit. That is huge. And this goes for materials as well. If you're trying to do like what I'm doing, where I'm trying to build a crate empire, I need to basically build up a bunch of just materials. So I need birch, timber, fir, cedar, fir, I need all these different timbers and I need to sit on them so that way I can just have a huge just processing day where I'm just processing all of those into plywood so I can make Calpheon crates. So just being patient is a huge portion of this game. If you try and rush it, you're gonna skip over things, you're going to find just all sorts of different types of garbage that are gonna fuck you over. So just learn to be patient. Before you sell something, think about it. Think about if this is the price of what you want to sell it at, or you want to wait maybe a month or even less than that or more than that, and see if you can get a better deal. It's all about just patience. And the last bit of nonsense I want to talk to you about is taking the time to PvP in the battle arena, or just try your hand at Arsha and open world PvP. Hell, even in regular servers, just fuck it, PvP, who gives a shit? It's a PvP game. If people get butt hurt, they need to play a different game. I've always loved the idea of open world PvP, but obviously I've expressed my grievances towards BDO's system with K-bombing and all sorts of other nonsense, so I feel like sometimes you get punished for PvPing. Like, if you defend your grind spot by flagging up on somebody that's trying to grind over you, you, the player that was there first initially, is getting punished because you're losing karma. It's a stupid and broken system, and I don't know how they can fix it, but they need to take a look at it and make it a lot more viable, because it's really annoying not being able to defend your grind spot that you were there first on. Like, yeah, you can go to Arsha, but I mean, all the big PP people are on fucking Arsha, so what are the Lowbees supposed to fucking do? Like, for me, I don't really complain too much about it because I'm now at the AP brackets where I can kill, you know, people with higher gear score, so it doesn't matter to me. But back when I was like 480 and I was like trying to grind somewhere, and then some dude that's like 535 or something rolls up, and it's like, well, I don't compete at all. Obviously that doesn't stop me from trying, but it's rather annoying not being able to actually fight back, and it's partially due to my skill, as also just gear score plays a factor. So when I say take time to PvP in the battle arena, this is not necessarily for you to fight people on your level. You just need to learn your class and learn what other classes do. One of the hardest things for me was understanding my limitations as a Musa, because whenever I play Musa, I feel really like cocky and big dickish, right? Because I have basically like a 2-button combo that just deletes people. 9 times out of 10, if I get a Musa Spirit stun or any kind of knock, float, whatever, you're dead. All I gotta do is float you, swap over to my awakening, crush, below the belt, and you're dead. That's literally the like 4 buttons. I'm not gonna sit here and pretend like the Musa is like the craziest class or the easiest or hardest. I don't really care personally. I just like playing the game, so it is what it is. But the point being is that because I can do that so effortlessly, it feels like I can beat anybody, but that's not the case all the time. I struggle heavily against grab classes and guard classes that have a 360 block. So warriors, Valkyries, these classes really fucking put me in the dirt. I'm not necessarily sure that they're a huge counter to me, but like as a player, just for me, I struggle with fighting them because they have really just, I don't know what the word is here, but it feels like if I get too close, I might get grabbed and get just insta killed. I feel like I need to play more of a like kind of a bitchy play style, which I really don't like doing. I typically play like passive aggressively, where I'll shoot stub arrows for a minute and then I'll go in and try and see if I can get some kind of knock or something. But for the most part, whenever I fight a warrior or striker or Valkyrie, I feel like I have to play really reserved, and it's kind of just not fun. But you see what I mean though? By just having that knowledge and experience, you kind of realize what you can and can't do, and maybe you can beat your opponent by just having that little bit of insight. And not to mention, if you're an underdog and you're fighting people that are above your pay grade and you start beating them like myself, you tend to just kind of really feel like you can do a lot of things, but in reality, like, you're going to get fucking bodied at some point. As I mentioned before, no king rules forever, so everybody in BDO has died at least once, probably over 30 times actually, so don't worry about it. There's not a single damn person in this fucking game that has not had their cheeks rearranged, so I just don't trip about it. Like, people can brag all day, but it's like, bro, I don't give a fuck. You killed me once, but there was a day where you died 30 times. But that's essentially it for today's video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Let me know about some of your experiences in BDO, and I will talk to you guys tomorrow. Bye-bye.